Evening.
You know, we're live. Here's our pause. We're delayed. Okay, we are live. Starting in just a second. You okay if I get us going while you're logging in? All right. It is 6:01. I will call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. President Sarah Masinski.
Vice President Trustee West.
Vice President for Finance, Allen.
Trustee Veneta.
Trustee Marlowe.
Trustee Paige Barnum, Secretary.
Executive Director Andrea Nicolai.
Assistant Director Melanie Metzger.
Director of Finance, Adam Stump. Sean Smith, Board Treasurer.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? No public comment. Moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments about the minutes? Right. Hearing none. Moving on to the operating check register. Okay. And given that there is no link, I'm assuming there's nothing from the capital fund check register. With that, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda, including the minutes, check register, and capital fund check register?
Trustee Allen, I move to accept the consent agenda, including the minutes, check register, and capital fund check register.
Second, Barnum. All in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 6, 6. That's all of us. Passes unanimously, sorry. All right, moving on to finance, starting with the finance memo, moving into treasurer's report.
The three items included in the agenda present the library's 2026 fiscal year activity through the 6 months ending December 31st, 2025. The treasurer's report includes two schedules. The first schedule presents the net change in fund balance compared to budget amounts approved by the board. And then the second schedule presents a further breakdown of expenditures by category. The schedules have been updated to include the budget modifications approved by the board at the last meeting. And overall, total support and revenues and total expenditures were over the modified budget. The capital fund report presents the financial activity for the capital projects approved by the board. And then the last item is the cash and investment summary, which presents the activity in the library's accounts during the reporting month.
Thank you. Are there any questions in regards to any of these documents?
I have a question. I think it's more appropriate for Director Nikolai. The programming and community engagement line, that $80,000, we've only spent 24,000 of it. Is that usual that it should be so underspent this far into the year?
That's a line that varies greatly. It depends on how many programs we are doing kind of in-house and how many presenters we hire. But a lot of those expenses tend to fall closer to summer because of the summer reading program and
Okay.
everything that we have to line up with that. So that's what I would guess is going on with that. But I can certainly get more
Okay,
information.
so it's not being used as a cost-saving measure. It's just a
No, that is
intensive
not,
programming.
no,
Okay, great.
we're going to be spending every dime of that.
Great,
Thank you.
thanks.
Right. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to committee liaisons and committee and liaison reports. First item are trustees reporting out and upcoming events. Since I'm talking, I will just give a shout out in case anyone doesn't know. I'm going to library date night tomorrow at Pine Hills, and I am super excited.
Trustee Veneta, I will also be going to library date night and maybe as a single because my spouse canceled on me.
You can be part of us.
Third wheel. No, I'm very excited.
I mean, he listens and sorry, Mike, but he is really bad at like finding books and stuff. So I would take you.
Perfect, perfect.
I swung by the Pine Hills branch the other day to catch the exhibit that was prepared by the Underground Railroad Education Center. It's called African American Sailors, Skippers, and Boatmen Along the Hudson River. While we may not have a significant industrial history in downtown Albany to date, it definitely used to exist. And so it's, a nice exhibit with a lot of beautiful historic images, and the Underground Railroad Education Center always, is a great partner for our organization and does amazing programming. So I believe the exhibit's there through the end of March. So plenty of opportunities. I believe date night is at the Pine Hills branch. So
Mhm.
you can incorporate some more historical interpretation into your date, really maximize the quality of the evening.
I've reported out on this one in the past, but it happens every month. So I just want to mention again that, and I attend really kind of by proxy of my son who does the Page Turner's virtual book club each month. And I just bring it up again because every month I'm amazed at how well John and Sarah facilitate a discussion of books amongst all of these young people who have all kinds of different attention spans and interests and things going on in their houses behind them. So just a shout out to them. It's really amazing. And I would have loved such a thing when I was his age. So
This is just a shout out for the app, the Upper Hudson Library System app. I did my first hold through the app. It came in 2 days. It told me, and then I picked it up, and it was very easy. So I just want to make a plug for the app.
Excellent. All right, so we are now moving into all of these reports that are coming from me. So I will try not to be awful to listen to a lot in a row. First item is the Ad hoc Strategic Plan Committee report. We met on the 20th of January. Earlier that day, library staff had met with the consultants and discussed the steering committee, the need for a steering committee, and the sorts of folks who will be on it. During the strategic planning committee meeting, we brainstormed different folks from the community to bring in to represent different sectors of Albany community. And the consultant is currently working to schedule a virtual steering committee kickoff. Next item is the executive committee report. Executive committee met last week.
You're moving on to a new report. Can I just ask a question about?
So sorry. Go
That is totally fine. I was just curious if you could say a little bit more. So they're doing a steering committee members kickoff, you said.
Mhm.
What will that look like? How will it be disseminated or?
There is, it will not include the entire board. But it's everyone on the ad hoc steering committee and it's business owners. Ad hoc strategic planning committee, thank you. Business owners, local religious leaders, schools.
Community organization, so it's going to help us in the strategic planning process, make sure we're really doing it. Looks into our community so that our strategic plan really addresses the diversity of users we have.
Okay. And
So
I was just gonna say, and they're actually like want specifically to bring in people who are not current library users. To sort of reach into those corners as well.
And how will those people be brought in? Like,
So the steering committee members, some of them are non-library users, but the point, as Trustee Barnum alluded to, the strategic plan consultants encouraged us to contact people who have a lot of contacts themselves within each of these spheres. So the schools, homeschool community, and the groups that Trustee Barnum mentioned, in addition to elected officials and well, actually one elected official who represents Common Council on the steering committee and not just Common Council, but the wider community.
Any other questions about the strategic planning committee and progress before I move on? All right. Moving on to executive committee, we met and discussed some language changes for the letter of agreement with Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah. But not all members of the executive committee were able to make it, so we were waiting on that to vote and make actions when everyone can be present. We discussed board evaluations, the results from them, and we will be covering that later in board activities. And we also discussed a social activity to celebrate a major life change for one of our trustees. And that is, it'll go out to just the trustees. It is not library related. So we won't be talking any library business, just celebrating. Any executive committee questions? Okay, moving on to Upper Hudson. So Upper Hudson met on the 14th and is planning to meet again tomorrow. Big news or items are that they've successfully rolled out a new web interface. The Wall Street Journal and Comics Plus are now live for all patrons. Upper Hudson will officially be closed on Juneteenth. This is the first year that Upper Hudson itself will be closed on Juneteenth. And just a sneak peek, the summer reading theme is going to be related to dinosaurs, and I'm super excited. Any questions before I move on? Okay.
I have a question. Do you have a favorite dinosaur?
Well, yes, it's the Triceratops.
Perfect. Thank you.
So moving on to FFAPL. So in our last meeting, we approved the budget and are hoping to apply for a grant, or we discussed that we're hoping to apply for a grant with Leadership Capital Region to help with future Washington Avenue branch remodels. The March and April Tuesday book talks have been posted. And this goes out to the full web and folks as well. If anyone is interested in giving a Tuesday book talk, please reach out to FFAPL. They're interested in all sorts of folks and all sorts of things. It's got to be a book. Trustees, this is a good opportunity, although it is a Tuesday afternoon. All right, and that is the end of FFAPL, unless there's questions. The end of my FFAPL report. It's still going. All right. Is there a finance committee?
The finance committee is meeting tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
You're gonna join on Zoom, I think. Hopefully.
Try.
Yeah.
All right. So using that, we'll jump into upcoming meetings.
Audit and finance is meeting tomorrow here at Washington Ave in the community room at noon.
All right. Moving on, executive director report.
All right. Thank you, President Masinski. So the first thing I wanted to mention in this month's report about January is that we are proudly serving the community as a warming center during this really, really cold winter. You'll see that reflected in our utility bills as well, but we've seen a lot of foot traffic at all of our locations. People wanting to spend some time in the library and get away from the temps and the conditions outside. Our facilities team has done a really great job of keeping walkways and parking lots salted and clear. And I also want to note that the library is part of the Albany Climate Action Committee run by the city's Office of Sustainability. And they are charged with assessing the city of Albany's climate vulnerability and deciding what steps need to be taken. So we think it's really important for the library to be at that table, and we look forward to continuing to identify ways that we can support overall community wellness as a warming center and in the summertime as a cooling center. In terms of outreach activities, I attended a refugee and immigrant support meeting at RISE along with representatives from schools and other agencies in the city about continued support for that community. And I'm also happy to say that I'm going to be presenting on a literacy panel this coming Thursday as part of Serve Albany Brunch. So that's a nonprofit coalition. And I'm really glad that they're calling attention to literacy and the importance of lifelong literacy and lifelong learning, rather. The Friends and Foundation of APL report was already given, but yeah, they They continue to look at ways to make the best use of Donor Perfect. Looking forward to growing the board as well. In terms of the finance section, it's a very short report, but we continue, if you don't mind, Director of Finance Stump, if I deliver the finance report, okay. We continue to plan for this coming budget season, and as was stated, we will be meeting with the Audit and Finance Committee tomorrow afternoon to discuss the proposed FY27 budget, which covers July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Incidents were at a slightly higher level than at this time last year for the second month in a row, but we do chalk that up to some factors like the fact that we see a lot of regular patrons with kind of low-level problematic behavior that pops up at various locations, and we're addressing that as we go. And we also, as I said, see an increased number of patrons seeking warmth. And so as a Code Blue designation, we are happy to serve in that capacity, but we do have to also be more mindful of everyone who's in the building and help keep everyone peaceful and comfortable and be a welcoming place for anyone else who's coming in. Under community engagement, I want to say that we had a really successful name change clinic on the 9th of January. Part of our service initiative at Drake Manor. Under programs and partnerships, I want to highlight the fact that tax preparation services have begun, and we are once again partnering with New York State Tax and VITA. We're offering 3 days of tax prep assistance this season, and that's an expansion from last year. And we are an award-winning tax preparation site, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm really excited that we're offering an additional day of service.
Yeah, the notes say 3 days per week.
Oh, what did I say?
3 days.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. 3 days per week. Thank you.
It's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Yes, 3 days is not enough for the whole tax season. No, thank
But
you.
it's award-winning 3 days.
3 days a week. Thank you. Under feature programs, I want to call out that we are hosting on February 17th a really unique program called Adirondack Moments, Adventures with Brother Youssef featuring Adam Stewart. We think that's going to be a popular event. It's also being hosted on Zoom for our remote attendees. Under branch services, I'll just go through some highlights from each branch. At Arbor Hill West Hill, we welcomed John Edwelson as interim branch manager. John has been a children's librarian at Pine Hills, but has worked at Arbor Hill before, and we are excited to see him help manage the branch throughout the time that we are needing him. At Bach Branch, we held a Let's Talk Albany session with the Bethlehem Town historian, which was an interesting twist on our local history programming. At Delaware, we had fun creating a January display centered around a rat oracle or rhetorical. It's a play on words. It got a lot of fun attention on social media and a lot of engagement from patrons. So kudos to that creative team. At Howe, for the first Saturday of 2026, held an afternoon of sci-fi trivia for teens. And although it saw kind of minimal attendance, it was a very strong showing by the teen who did come. At North Albany, our puzzle swap had a record attendance of 34 attendees. It was great to see so many jigsaw puzzle enthusiasts. Cold weather does tend to get people wanting puzzles. At Pine Hills, we have a new exhibit up in the lobby called African American Sailors, Skippers, and Boatmen Along the Hudson River. It's a display that is going to be up through March, but we're particularly glad that it's viewable during this Black History Month. So we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people visit that exhibit, and we thank the Underground Railroad Education Center for partnering with us for that exhibit. Here at Washington Avenue, the Art and Craft Supply Swap on January 10th was a really big success with 53 people attending. Wintertime is also a great time to get into crafts. Not really surprised about that either. Under operations and communications and creative services, I'll call out that we did get a lot of positive reaction about the Pine Hills Date Night, which many of our board members are attending. Many people in the community apparently look forward to attending as well.
Super fun.
Because it's super fun. Under collection management services, our new Comics Plus digital service began in January, and we already have 90 and probably more than 90 at this point patrons borrowing titles in the first month. Over 1,000 titles were borrowed, so that's going very well. And we welcomed our new head of public safety. Mike Fargione started on February 2nd. He's already doing a lot of great work and getting to know our branches, our staff, and our patrons. And finally, under facilities, we did repair the window that had been broken at Howe, and under IT, we are continuing to replace our wireless access points so that they can deliver strong Wi-Fi services throughout the system. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Does Mike have plans to come to a board meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is his second week, but absolutely.
Deep end.
All right, moving on to statistics.
So I'll call out a few highlights from our statistics reports. We are going to see a slight dip in Hoopla, or rather in the digital circulation statistics, because we ended Hoopla in January. However, with the launch of Comics Plus, we're going to also see some of that recouped. So that's something to continue to look at in the coming months in terms of our overall circulation trends. Physical circulation increased at Washington, Pine Hills, and Howe. Like I said, we are replacing our wireless access points throughout the system. So that is going to have a slight impact on how our Wi-Fi access statistics look. We're now funneling all of our cell phone connections, including staff phones and devices, through the public Wi-Fi network. And for a lot of reasons, that's a good practice. Our head of IT could tell you a lot more about that. But in addition, the partnership Wi-Fi access program that we had with the Housing Authority, which was grant supported for a very long time, did come to a close at the end of December by mutual agreement due to the funding changes that I shared with the board over the course of the last really the last year or so. We did secure a final grant to kind of help us sunset the program in a responsible way. But at this point, that program is fully sunsetted. And that basically means that the Wi-Fi service that was available in the Albany Housing Authority community rooms is no longer available, and Albany Housing will need to replace it with other Wi-Fi services. And I don't actually know how that story ends just yet, but I'm happy to report to the board once I find out. Computer use increased at our Washington, Arbor Hill, West Hill, and Bach and Delaware and Howe branches. And our door count is also up overall over last year, led by Bach, Pine Hills, Delaware, Howe, and North Albany. And in addition to the statistics report that I just delivered, I also shared with the board the Upper Hudson Library System digital content report for Albany Public Library circulation. So you can see that some of the trends there show audiobook circulation up, definitely periodicals up. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions about this circulation report, but overall, our digital circ and most libraries' digital circ is just going up every year. So we're looking forward to finding ways to, and I've said this before, but we're going to continue to look forward to ways to ramp up our ability to spend on digital content, which will involve some decision-making about physical collection versus digital collection. I'm also looking forward to seeing what we receive in the way of community feedback about how our collections are serving the community now and how they can better serve the community. So more to come there, but happy to answer any questions you have about digital or physical circ.
I just have a question. This is, you can hear me. This is actually about the monthly statistics. I've been curious about this for a couple of months. What is the reference questions? Why suddenly are there so few reference questions in this year compared to me? And then, actually, no, this doesn't make sense, right? 'Cause it's saying 2026.
I mean, no, you are correct in that.
I mean, is such an extreme. I was just curious, is it like, are the reference desks being staffed less and there's less questions? Like, what is?
Not necessarily. We've struggled with this as well, this statistic and the way that it's reported. So our reference desk staff need to mark down when a reference question happens.
Right.
But it's like a manual process that you have to do. And if you have a really busy desk going on, it's harder to remember to find that sheet. And it's literally hash marks on a sheet, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a very old-fashioned system, but it's also harder to do when we're busy. So I'm not saying that it's down because conversely, we're doing a lot of reference question business. I will also posit that a lot of people are finding answers to reference questions in other ways or, through other avenues, which is, we're seeing plenty of traffic, but not the same kinds of reference questions we might have been getting 5 years ago. Melanie, do you want to speak a little bit more to this? I know we talk about it a lot internally.
I just want to, echo what Andrea said. It's a lot of it is there's other resources out there now, between internet access, AI that people are playing with. So they might have, asked us questions in the past, but they're like, oh, this new AI, let me try that. And they're going and utilizing that. We can't know for sure if that's what's happening because unless we're asking every person that asks a question or doesn't ask a question. Reference is our one statistic that is not automated. Programming, you're in a room, you can go, okay, you can literally do a quick count, but with reference questions, it's really difficult. A lot of it is also, it's done by question is how we mark them. And some of our questions are, I need help on writing a resume. So you're spending a half an hour with one individual answering one question because it's how to write the resume versus sitting at the desk and answering 10 questions. So there's a lot of that going on as well, that there's a lot of longer length questions being handled because that's what they're coming for, that one-on-one interaction rather than the quick, what's the phone number for this place? Do you have a book on this? Because we have so much automated with our own catalog, even with that. So what we're seeing, I think, is a lot more of the longer length questions that are fewer because they take more time.
I think we could, thank you, Melanie. And I think we could also do a better job of accounting for all of the non-reference transactions that take place at the reference desk, because that is a lot of extra interaction, whether it's how do I make a copy, show me how to print, where is the restroom, directional stuff. Like, it's not necessarily true that we're consistent in how we account for all of those transactions across the entire system. So those are just a few of the ways that explain why these statistics look the way that they do, but we really do have a lot more work to do when it comes to accounting for the transactions that happen at the reference desk. And it's possible that our consultant will have some ideas, our strategic plan consultant, because I don't think we're the only library that struggles with this.
Hi, Trustee West. So you referenced Comics Plus, and because I'm me, I looked it up and I'm like, so is it really just comics?
Manga.
But it's so right. So but I was like, maybe I'm just looking at the pictures and I'm not interpreting it correctly. So I'm like, let me just throw a couple of authors in there to see if I'm correct. And all right, so so this doesn't really replace Hoopla because Hoopla had a wide variety. So the only platforms we have now are Comics Plus and Libby. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
In addition to whatever you can get as a patron by signing up for like the New York Public Library e-card, you can get access to their whole digital collection that way. You can also gain access through Libby, as you said, with the other consortiums. Upper Hudson partners with MVLS and some of the other systems in this area to gain so that you can access their digital collections as well, as long as the material is available and not on hold.
Yeah, I go back to my comment when the representative was here. It's like I have to find new authors all the time because it's like it sounds bad to say it's limited, but it's limited. And then as soon as I find an author with a series, you're still missing like 10 books out of the series. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, for that, I would encourage anyone to also look at our physical holdings because we can get books through interlibrary loan from other systems, et cetera. So we're never going to leave you hanging completely. We've always got a way to get what you want, but not always a way to get what you want in the format.
Right. Makes sense. Thank you.
And as a delinquent sort of library patron, there are no late fees when you have the hard copy materials.
Accurate.
But I should probably use my position to be like, get your books in on time. All right. There's no more questions. We will move on to our unfinished business, which are the quarterly board evaluations. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, in executive committee, we did discuss the board evaluations. So in the last round of quarterly board evaluations, we received 6 evaluations. There were concerns raised. These centered on trustees being prepared, meetings running long. And we have reached out to Upper Hudson for potential trainings that might help us address these issues. But in the meantime, I'm going to take the opportunity to remind everyone to come to meetings prepared, and that having reviewed materials beforehand will help us move through the agenda as efficiently as possible. All right. So moving on. Oh, sorry. Is there a question? New business, we have what I think is an annual discussion on the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
It is an annual discussion, and the board really made it clear that it should be an annual discussion because conditions do change over time, and yet in this year, as in last year, I am recommending that the Washington Avenue branch be closed on Saturday, March 14th for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which goes down Washington Avenue and attracts a lot of positive community attention and some negative community attention. Our Washington Avenue branch is obviously right on the parade route. We also have some of the restrooms in the area, and I don't think it's fair to staff or to the patrons or to families who want to come and use the library to compete with all the parade goers with regard to parking, with regard to the bathrooms, with regard to our spaces. Our other Saturday locations, Cow and High Hills, are open regular hours on that Saturday. We always publicize this very well, and I'm asking the board to consider allowing the Washington Avenue branch to once again close for just Saturday the 14th.
And same as last year, the staff will just be redeployed to other locations.
That's right.
Trustee West, can you tell us which branches will be open that day?
Yes, the Howe and the Pine Hills branch. From 10 to 6. 10 to 5, excuse me.
And how is in the South End, right?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a motion is there any further discussion before I ask for a motion? Hearing none. Is there a motion to close Washington Avenue branch on Saturday, March 14th?
Trustee Marlowe, I move to close the Washington Avenue branch on Saturday, March 14th.
Trustee Veneta, I second.
All in favor?
Hi.
2, 3, 5, 6. That's passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know that it's a big deal to close a branch for any reason, let alone for grade reasons, but I look forward to one day not having this concern.
All right. Is there any additional public comment? Okay. Hearing no additional public comment, we do need to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing potential litigation is the correct term for this one?
Yeah, that's right. Pending litigation.
All right, so we are moving into executive session to discuss litigation. Can I please have a motion?
Barnum, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Veneta, second.
Thank you. All in favor? Jen? Are you in favor?
Oh, I said aye.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, passes unanimously. We're going into executive session at 6:42. Thank you, everyone.
For the public, I'd like you to know that we are going to end the live stream at the moment. Any votes that must be taken after we exit executive session will be posted and reflected in the minutes. Good evening.